Good morning, guys. We've got Coach Payton for the call. Jordan, I'll turn him over to you.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Coach. I looked up some of your offenses where it was Air Breeze with the Saints, where I think he had 7-8 seasons where he averaged between 28 and 32 points a game. It seems like 24 points a game is roughly your sweet spot for this team. Could you just talk about, as a game planner and a game caller, a play caller, just your adjustments you've made to what seems to be a different style of offense than what you had in your previous head coaching term there?
Yeah, look, we're by no means at our sweet spot. I mean, I say that, there's, looking at the film this morning, there's so many things we've got to clean up and get better at. Now, relative to this team and relative to this offense and where we're at, each game can change a little, but you do have to pay attention to how the game's unfolding. Our third down numbers last night were outstanding when we were south of 7. But I mentioned, that first half and even a series or two in the second half, when all of a sudden we're minus with a penalty. We get into those third and longs like any team, but so staying ahead of the chains and being efficient on first and second down are critical. Look, we were well into the program with Breeze, the receivers, the running game, and all of that. But there were times where it wasn't with Drew, and we had to adjust. With Teddy for 5 games, Taysom Hill, of course, Jameis Winston, whoever the quarterback was. I think you got to be mindful of that, A, and then B, what does it take to win that game? So, again, watching the tape this morning and just having seen one side of the ball, there's a lot we have to clean up, and we will. So we haven't hit that sweet spot. We coach to it. It's the details. There's so much that goes into it, but I think that would be in kind of a nutshell of what we're looking to do. And so, but it starts with building it around what you have and who we have.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, Coach, I know you touched on it off the top of your press conference last night, but as you went back and looked at it or thought about it, was there any, second guessing getting the field goal unit out a little earlier on that?
No, I've read, listen, 27 seconds, 26 seconds, whatever the number was, second down. No, here's the thing, 17 seconds is the cutoff. So for us to send our hurry up unit out with the time we had, I knew that there was plenty of time. And the other element, and I said it last night, and I'll try to be clear about it, we had finished the first half with it. All right. Now, we had missed a prior PAT, and we had mishandled a hold on a PAT. And so, one of the elements about that procedure is that eliminates a lot of the thinking. Just go execute. And so there was plenty of time for us during that final sequence to decide, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a knee, move it over to this location, send the field goal unit out, plenty of time, without a lot of thinking, and let them go execute. And kind of how we did at the end of the first half. We had less time at the end of the first half. So, no, there was none, and there was a reason for it. I mean, look, we could have kicked it with whatever time was left after second down, and then, had Buffalo made a pass or two, we'd be having the same question today rather than, did you think about taking the clock down? I wanted to take the clock down, but more importantly, I felt it wasn't a panic or hurry up. It was, let's get out and kick this field goal with 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock and go win this game.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Sean, you got Lucas Krull on the field quite a bit last night. What has he shown in practice so far, and what did he demonstrate that was on the film when you watched it this morning?
Yeah, he brings a different element. He's a guy that can run with speed vertically. He brings more of a receiving threat maybe. And so we've been working with him for the last several weeks. We felt it'd be a good change up relative to some third down, red zone targets. Those are the things we noticed during the weeks of practice. So a little different type of athlete maybe than Nate or even Trout or Chris. And so that was a big decision.
Go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Coach, can you just explain why you decided to go for it on 4th and 2 there when Russ made that play? And then after seeing the play in the pass to Cortland, can you just talk us through how impressive it was by Russ and Court?
Yeah, look, if you'd have told me, all right, it's 4th and 2, give me a play you like, we felt like we had one, and then you'd have told me freeze the film midway through that play, I would have kicked the field goal. All right. They played coverage. They played more of a 2-deep shell to it. We were expecting a man look. We wanted to be aggressive, and we felt like we had a play we liked. Now, that all being said, certainly they defended it well, and then Russell and Cortland made a fabulous play.
Go ahead, Eric.
Coach, turnover margin wise, you guys have been really good the last few weeks here. How critical has that been to the team's success? And I guess how much can you keep that going moving forward as kind of a blueprint for success?
Well, look, it's a blueprint in our league, so it's not our blueprint, but how we coach it, and it is significant. It's everything. I mean, it was the difference last night. Our defensive takeaways. And honestly, it'll be the key for us as we move forward, these next few weeks. It's just hard. The margins in our league are so close that if you're, let's say there's 12 possessions per team on average, it might be a little more or less. I get a takeaway. That means I have 13, you have 11. All right, I get one more. I have 14, you have 10, and you just start doing that math. So we knew it was going to be. Well, we knew it was going to be real significant here. Josh and Sean together are 33-1 when they win the turnover battle. Now that's pretty significant, 33-1. But fortunately for us, we won that last night, and that had a lot to do, if not everything to do, with us winning the game.
Go ahead, Arnie.
Yeah, Sean, I was wondering if you could just speak to what Jaquan McMillan has sort of brought a little bit of a jolt to your defense, and secondly, what are your expectations with Kareem coming back this week?
Well, look, we'll sort through how we're going to implement Kareem in the plan. Certainly, we view him as a starter, veteran player. He's smart. He's extremely smart. And then with Saquon, you got an instinctive guy who's just got a nose for the football. He knows the defense very well. And look, smart, instinctive players tend to do smart and instinctive things during the course of games. He's one of those guys.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Sean, Samaje Perine is third on the team in receiving yards. Could you explain what he has provided in the passing game for you guys this season?
Yeah, when we studied Samaje in Cincinnati, we saw him on the field a lot in third down, 2 minute. So he's protection, but also check down driven. He has a pretty good ability to catch it and advance it pretty quickly, in some of those soft zones. And it happened last night. Get the 2 minute drive started. So he's been in that situation. And you saw that on Cincinnati film. You saw him on third down, might be 3rd and 6. The coverage is soft in the zone, and the ball gets thrown underneath, and he's able to get the first down and get forward. And then periodically there'll be certain routes that he'll run. So I think if you took a cut up of his receptions, some would be primary within the framework of the pass route, and then some would be underneath checkdowns that the ball came to because the coverage got soft.
Go ahead, Darren.
Coach, what do you think your identity is now compared to what it was, say, a month ago after the 3 wins?
I don't know. I mean, I don't stop and think and say, you know what? I think our identity today is, I mean, let's hope that we continue to take the ball away. I'd like to have seen us run the ball more efficiently last night. We ran it, but I felt like there were more yards to be had when you watch the tape the next day. And so, you know, physical at the line of scrimmage, and then defensively, you know, defending the run is I think one of the keys that's helped us flip this script. Now, last night, obviously, in the second half, we began to see more handoffs with some success. So, but the line of scrimmage play and the turnover battle is something we're emphasizing.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Sean. Hey, Sean. Looking back to when you guys were 1-5, I know you mentioned the Lions last year, but what were some of the things that you saw on the team that guys weren't losing confidence? They were still practicing hard. What were some of the encouraging things you saw back then that led to this turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, when you talk about culture or environment relative to a team sport, you know, it starts with the ingredients. And I felt like, you know, for the most part, we had guys that there was a high buy-in factor as to what we were doing. Was there frustration or disappointment? Sure. But, you know, you have to have energy when you practice. You have to be able to look closely and say, hey, these are the things that are hurting us. And then you have to have honest conversations when you're correcting, and honest conversations regarding the approach relative to us teaching. So, you know, getting that comeback win in Chicago was important. Each one of these steps has been somewhat important, obviously. And you've heard me say this before, you know, that confidence is only born out of demonstrated ability. It's not, you know, you can't say I'm confident or I want to be confident. You know, you have to achieve something, and then there's confidence in that you can do it again. So, you know, it's you know, finding the right group of players, and then you got to roll up your sleeves a little bit in this league.
Go ahead, Mike. Mike, can you hear us? All right, we're going to come back to Mike. Go ahead, Eric. Delilah.
Yeah, Coach, you've talked about kind of learning how to win and this team learning how to win. Is part of that now learning how to handle success after winning 3 games in a row and kind of keeping a one game at a time focus? I guess, could you just speak to that element of learning how to win, how to deal with the success?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a good problem to have now. And so, look, there's plenty to clean up. I mean, we just watched the tape, and you know, you get frustrated sometimes. You get frustrated with yourself because did I not cover this well enough? Are we on the same page? You know, do we need to cover this more? And then, you know, approach each week understanding that the work week, you know, when we practice Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and Saturday's practice this week will be a little longer. That's where you win the game. I mean, that's where your preparation matters, so that when the game comes, you've covered it. But I think there's a little bit of a journey to that, and we do have veteran players that like I said, the attention to detail has been good, the focus has been good, you know, but we still have a long way to go.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, I know you've appreciated history here and there. The last time the Broncos won here, it was called Toro Toro, by the way. Jason Elam ran out and his field goal unit went on. And so kind of ironic that it was Toro Toro and now it's Hurricane. I was just wondering if, you know, Mike Westhoff has, if this reflects upon him and what he's brought to you as far as being able to execute those hurry up type of field goals.
Well, listen, and a lot's made of the hurry up field goal, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm speaking for Mike and Ben and all our special teams. I mean, nothing new and nothing difficult. You with me? Like,
Yeah.
it's always the minute you don't have any timeouts and you're towards the end of the half or end of the game, you know, immediately when you're out of your last timeouts, you say, hey, alert hurricane, guys, alert hurricane. And in the cutoff, it gets a little hairy at 17 seconds, 18 seconds, and then there's a whole process. You know, the offense, the players that aren't on that unit, you know, we send them directly to the sideline parallel so they don't run into any of the players coming from the bench. So players entering the field, you know, come on an angle, players on the field directly off. We drill it, we time it, we drill it, we time it. And yeah, and so that's probably one of the first situations that teams work on in training camp. And I don't want to say it's not significant, but it's nothing new. And so, you know, I think those returns we had last night, both in the punt and kick return, you know, our starting field position, average starting field position was outstanding yesterday. And it felt like we played a lot of that game on their end of the field. And generally speaking, when that happens, you know, any mistake they make is magnified. And then any mistake you make isn't quite as significant because it's on their end of the field. And so those returns were significant. We got to clean up to the simple snap hold kick. You with me? That's got to get cleaned up. But the timing at the end of the half or the end of the game, we spent a lot of time on. That's why I felt when we were at 26 seconds, you know, I could have sent it out there and we could have taken our time, lined it up and got set. But I don't know that that was really what I wanted to do. You know, every once in a while, you're taking the basketball out from under your own net. You want to bring it up the court and call a timeout and set a play, or do you want to just go ahead and I felt like with our miss and then our mishandled of the snap and the way we handled it at the end of the first half, I would have done it the same way again. I wanted them to not have to think much and just go out next. We had plenty of time. Go out, get lined up, get set, kick it without a lot of thought. And that was the reason. And then also not leaving Josh and their offense, you know, 26 seconds on the field. And the last time I did that with that receiver, well, we know how that ended.
Coach, it looks like that's all the questions that we have in the queue for this morning.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.